It's a beautiful evening in Miami, Florida. I want to welcome each and every one of you to the Suzette Speak Show. If this is your first time, welcome. We have a fabulous conversation ready for you tonight. I have a woman who goes by the name the Self Esteem Doctor. Now, if you guys are like me, you tend to be, confident most of the time, but there comes a time in every man or woman's life where circumstances lead you to sometimes have a crisis in confidence. You can lose your way. You can feel like, you're off your game. And when we have these moments, it's not always easy to build back that confidence. Also, if you're a parent, sometimes we think about our kids and how we can be instilling the idea of confidence and self esteem in them. And also, I think people are drawn to people with a lot of self esteem and a lot of confidence in themselves. And every time I lose confidence, guess what? I try to be around people who remind me who I am, what I'm capable of. I think of what I used to do and how great I've done it. And drawing from my past, of course, we try our best to quickly recover, but it's not always easy. So I brought an expert here tonight to help us understand this concept of self-esteem. We hear the term, but it's not just, an abstract term, right? It's something that's real. There are folks among us that you would never know that battle low self-esteem each and every day. So we're going to roll back the curtain. We're going to take off all of our, superwoman mask. Hello, somebody, and men who are watching. Welcome. We want to keep it real tonight. You're going to be able to talk to her directly in the chat. You can drop your location wherever you're watching from, but we're here to educate and hopefully inspire you to becoming more confident. Who wants more confidence? Put it in the chat. I can't wait to have this wonderful discussion. Oh, hey, Elle Nixon saying hello. Elle Nixon, the voice of reason. Hey, Brown Gal Peace Lounge, how are you? I'm super excited to see y'all. Everybody watching live and team replay, y'all know what to do. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. But also make sure you hit the like, make sure you comment, and make sure you share. So without further ado, let me welcome for the first time to the Suzette Speak Show, none other than Dr. Simone Alicia. How are you?
Hello,
There we go. How are
fine.
you?
I'm
Sis,
wonderful.
you're
Thank
looking
you.
beautiful.
Thank you. Same to you, honey. Same to you. Let's do some big
Thank
things tonight. I'm
you.
so excited.
Bringing that energy today. Let's go. All that melanated beauty here. I appreciate you being here. And actually, I didn't mention that you draw on your experience as a model in many other parts of your life. Of course, y'all could tell she do you still model? Do you still model or?
I actually, as recently as 2020, was in Fort Lauderdale Fashion Week. I walked for Fort Lauderdale Fashion Week.
So,
Yeah.
okay, she got that walk. Okay, you saw her on the front of this show cover thumbnail. I want to introduce you to our audience here. I want y'all to get ready for a fantastic conversation, but you got to hit the like button as I bring her into the conversation right now. I am grateful that you guys are here. I want you guys to ask her questions about self-esteem. This is a real issue, Dr. Simone, where people feel some type of way. It is difficult to address. And again, I know you work with kids. I know you work with adults, men, women, everybody has this issue. So before we get deep, can you please introduce yourself to the audience tonight?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me, Miss Suzette, and everyone for tuning in. I see some really sweet comments coming through. So thank you, thank you. I am the self-esteem doctor, and my focus really is taking a mind, body, soul approach to the self-esteem building. And I find that self-esteem is applicable from all ages, little ones to us grown adults. And I think there are just so many tools we can use. And my focus is teaching those tools. So I love having talks like this that you're gonna experience here today with Suzette, and of course keynote talks and all anywhere I can go to get this word out, you're gonna see me there.
Let's go.
Yeah,
You're
so
like
let's
me.
do it.
When you have a passion, girl, we just go ahead and we throw ourselves into it. It's going to help a lot of people, y'all. So please be sure to share the broadcast, like, and comment. So yes, they're saying come through Melanin. Hey, Great Pill Podcast, Miss AKA Lady, I see you. But we're going to do some work tonight, y'all, because this is an area, like I said, even though there are women who I know, okay, Doc, that are super polished, super
Yes.
together. But if you
Yes.
get them one-on-one, the lack of self-confidence that they may, if they feel, that they can be vulnerable with you, that they
Yes.
may show you, would shock some people. I'm talking about top of their
Absolutely.
game women. Let's go. And I
Yes.
think we have to really, address where it comes from. First of all, why did you get so into this topic? Self-esteem is, a broad focus. You have clinical, and listen, I was reading, y'all read the description for all her, letters behind her name and all the credentials right there, right? We bring good quality people to you. Hit the like button. But how did this become a passion?
That is such a great question. So it's funny that you mentioned the modeling thing before, and I see y'all trying to give me all my compliments. So thank you. Thank you so much. I'm like smiling from here to here, trying to keep it together. But that's really where it started, a combination of me teaching in elementary school and doing the modeling thing. Yeah, I did it at the same time, y'all. And what I noticed was the self-esteem topic was popping up. I'm like, I'm teaching 8-year-olds and I'm seeing, self-esteem issues with performance and making friends and looks. And then I do the modeling and I go backstage and I hear the other models are like, oh, my this, my that, critiquing themselves. And I was like, this self-esteem thing seems to be an issue across the board. Somebody should do something about it.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, wait a second. I think
That's
that's going to be me. I think
me.
it's going to be me. Yeah, so that's
So
how it started.
I love it. That is where most businesses start, right? You
Yep.
notice a problem and you become the solution. So shout out to you for
Thank
stepping
you.
out there, getting training. And I want to talk about I don't know if to say the style that you're trained in. Can you explain what it means?
Okay, so this is real fun for me. It's going to be a tongue twister, so sit back for a second. Neuro Linguistic Programming. And we can just say NLP to make that short and simple. And what neuro linguistic programming basically is that where we use the language of the brain, right, to program and reprogram our thought processes. So once I can understand how your brain thinks, how you're seeing the world, those habits of thought, your belief system, then we can go in with different tools. Some of them I'll share with you today that we can actually use to help change that program. And when we have low self-esteem, there's a program basically that we're running that's a low self-esteem program, a habit of thought, a belief system, and we can shift that over to make you more confident, make you more positive, to make you believe in yourself, just by changing that program. So neuro-linguistic programming is like that big element that I bring in.
So you notice I
Yeah.
didn't even try to pronounce it. I was like, I know I read it in the bio. I'm gonna let her explain it to the people. Thank you, Doc. You did a great job. Dr.
Appreciate
Simone
you.
in the building, known as the Self Esteem Doctor. Y'all go follow her. She is on all platforms. The Self Esteem Doctor Academy. We're gonna talk about it in just a little, but I really want to get to the bottom of what you're seeing and now providing a solution for. So,
Yes.
what is the problem that you're seeing? So clearly, you said from the little baby girls to you teaching in elementary school and hearing them talk about themselves and not so loving ways, and to the runways where you're looking at grown women who got this much of fat, this much
Lord.
their bodies are darn near perfect according to society. And I
Society.
met them. I'm like, girl, if I will choke you if you over here complaining about that skinny waist and them beautiful legs and all this, but they can't see it, or they feel that something is wrong with them. So where are the origins of I would call it the story we tell ourselves, the narrative that gets in your head? Where does that come from? Does it start when we're little, or where does that develop?
Okay, it comes from all over the place. It comes from everywhere. And I think some of the places you might not even realize. So I'm gonna just kind of break down a couple of them. One, definitely, you said it already, just society, right? You hear and see this is the image of supposedly perfection or beauty or whatever. And that just grinds my gears because I'm like, there's so many different people, so many different looks. Who got to decide which was the best one? But we'll get into that. So there's this society. There's also just competition between people and friends and non-friends, right? And all the people that you're watching and comparing yourself with, that's another origin. And again,
Mhm.
this is exceeding age and whether you're boy, girl, little, teenager, adult, it's in all areas. So comparing yourself with others, comparing yourself with societal standards, and of course, even watching television, the social media, even the music we're listening to, every bit of input is a part of the program. So if we start getting that bit that makes us say, am I good enough? Maybe I'm not, and looking for what might be wrong with us, it starts as early as that, and wanting to perform and outperform and compete. it really has its origins in those fundamental things, but it comes from anywhere. It can be what your parents are saying to you, how you grew up in your home, so many different things.
If you can relate to any of that, put a 1 in the chat for me. If you can relate to any of that, whether you have felt, less than, or doubted your abilities, doubted yourself, doubted your beauty or your handsomeness. If you have said to yourself, because you compare to others, because what messages you were told. I mean, some people have some really rough upbringings. Dr. Simone, I don't need to tell you. I went to a training, a conference this past weekend where I was like, girl, you need to stop complaining, because the level of trauma some people have experienced, and to know that they're still very successful, and they're carrying it, and deep down, they have this insecurity, they have this, low self-esteem, and what we're calling here tonight a crisis of confidence. So as she said, it could come from, different times of life, different people, our surroundings, people that we love sometimes have give us an example of that, because sometimes even from a parental perspective, you're just trying to build up your son or daughter. I got a couple of stories I can share with that. But tell us what it looks like, Dr. Simone, when it comes to parents that maybe kind of create this issue.
Absolutely. I think it always stems from, like you said, we're trying to build up our kids, or not always, sometimes it's just not a good situation. But in those scenarios where we're trying to build up our kids and we're using that tough love format, there's sometimes that the wording we're choosing really becomes part of that program. And we're trying to push our kids to something, and we're using words that end up holding them back rather than actually pushing them forward. And I think that's something we have to be careful with. Also, comparing to siblings, as parents, we think, hey, if I can motivate you, if I can show you someone else is doing it, then I can inspire you to do it, and then you can be a success too, right? So it's stemmed and steeped in a potential success story you're looking for both of your kids or all of your kids. But that comparison just starts to breed that desire to keep comparing and keeping up with someone else, rather than tapping into what your own faculties and your own powers are, in terms of self-loving and appreciating yourself.
Yeah, we got to be very careful. And I know my mom, love her, old school immigrant from Jamaica, who was never really, held her tongue when it came to, I remember in middle school, when we start to develop in puberty and things like this. And my mom I remember clear messages, won't go into detail, but don't get fat was the clear message. I was like, okay, well, I'll do my best not to, but I'm gonna eat some food. But I just remember even girls at that age, that's 6th grade, and I'm they don't like to say I'm big boned, but I'm big boned. I remember even white girls who were also thicker, and we were friends and whatnot, would be like, bruh, like pressure on them. They would, I mean, when you had to run that mile for the first time and things like that in physical fitness. You remember when they actually had physical fitness in schools and stuff? Like, I just remember like having to, when we dressed out in PE and things like that, how you looked, how, when you were selected for a team, if it was a team sport, if it was first, if it was last, all those things play in your mind and contribute. And again, I don't want to say maybe blame parents, but they contribute to our sense of self. And we're going to get into some solutions a little bit later, guys, into how you can help combat this, both as an adult, right? All them high achievers that watch the Suzette Speak show, right? The people, the go-getters, the go-givers, those who, count themselves as productive, praise God, contributors as much as we can be to, ourselves, this country, and those we love. But even those people, and often those people, I shouldn't even say even, often those people can struggle with that feeling of not thinking they are enough. We're welcoming Dr. Simone, the self-esteem doctor, tonight, y'all. We're talking about how we can build it, what causes it, how we can keep. We got the crew in the chat. They got questions already. Big up everybody watching live. Shout out to everybody watching Team Replay. Make sure you follow Dr. Simone. Make sure you check out her Self Esteem Academy, y'all. I was checking it out. I was like, maybe, everybody could use a little brush up. We got a question. Miss AKA Lady, one of my faves, is asking, how did you maintain your self-esteem in the fashion industry? Now, that's a great question. That sounds like the task of all tasks. That's true. What would you say to that?
Thank you, Miss AKA Lady. I really think that there was a part of me at the time that was just so naive. I was just bubbling with like, you gonna pay me to walk down this runway? Like, hey. So I really didn't get too absorbed in that part of it. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a natural reaction or what happens with most people, but I really just kind of was in my little do 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 do. I get to put on clothes and get some money, and that was really it for me for the most part. However, towards the end of my career was the first time, I guess, because I was getting a little more deep into it. That was the first time I started to actually experience, or I had a major experience that involved like a critique of my body. So a friend of mine who was an agent, she brought me to her new agency that she was working at. I was a pretty big name agency, and I walk in, and the lady's sitting there, and it's like it's a television moment. She's like, "You're beautiful and all, but you're gonna have to do something about that." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, what?" She's like, "You're gonna have to get rid of that." And I'm like,
What
"Get
you
rid
talking
of
about?
what?"
Your behind? Your
My hips, girl, my hips. She literally like, you have to get rid of that. And I'm like, huh, what? Like I was so clueless. I'm like,
I
oh no, I
can't
like
even.
that.
I
I'm like,
can't
no, I
even.
like that. But the thing is, I'm not gonna say I never had any kind of issue, Miss AK. I'm not, or anyone listening, I'm not gonna say I've never had like a self-esteem moment or wanted something different for my body. But for the most part,
Yeah.
that thing, when I tell you rolled off my back, I don't, sometimes God gives you the thing you need to do the thing he
Yeah.
sent you to do. So maybe that's why certain things, but when I tell you it rolled off of me and I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, I need that. No, I look good with that. No.
I
Mm-mm.
know
And
you're
I
gonna
was
let
just,
me have these hips. I know you're gonna let me have them, lady. What are you talking about? And look at culture now, where
thank you.
literally appropriation is occurring, where people are cosplaying Black women and cosplaying in what should I say, manufactured bodies to look like Black. Oh my, I can't go so deep, but yes, thank you for that country,
Listen,
lady.
thank
Shout out
you.
to my sister here in YouTube. Hey, Jeremy passing through says just saying hello, Suzette and chat. Have a great stream. Team replay. It's all good. When you get a chance, come on back. Thank you. I appreciate you being here, Jeremy, as always. KL says our number is the falsest indicator of our personality, our character, our values, our passion, our joys, our missions. Amen. I might be done with all that because listen, now I don't know how much you watch YouTube, sis, but we hear Dr. Simone hear a lot of you're a 5, you're a 7, you're a 6, your face is a this number. Is
You're out
this
here doing that?
oh heavy? Heavy. It's like a true you don't spend the time on the YouTube.
I'm not me on sex. I was like, what?
Listen, I have to be tuning out sometimes because I'm like, really, I don't need this, to imprint itself on me. But
There you
if
go.
you're watching YouTube, a lot of times in different spaces, manosphere, non-manosphere, whatever, you'll hear this. What would you how would you characterize this type of ranking system? And is it healthy and is it good for your self-esteem?
Let me tell you something. I feel like we have really gotten to a society where labeling is everything. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I personally do not agree. Now, let me slow down with that because I obviously believe things have labels. Things can be, labeled in a certain way or categorized, and that makes sense just in general in terms of just communication. But the way we have gotten to this excessive need for labeling, we just want to shortcut everything. Let's just generalize this, put a label on that. And I think number one, that in and of itself is dangerous and has gotten us into a lot of trouble with even just diagnostics medically and things like that. I just think we're just tossing everything under some label and then feel like we're done with it. We did something. And I don't think we're actually affecting change. So
And
that's
as
part one.
I agree with
Yeah.
that. People want to put a category on you and a value, therefore,
Mhm.
on you. And I agree with KL. It's a false indicator. It doesn't talk about all the real aspects of a person that makes them, who they are, their personality,
For
and the
sure.
character, the values, their passions, their joys, their mission, all of that. So we
Yeah.
got to
And
be
it's
careful when we're doing that. Go ahead.
100%. And the thing is that when we step back far enough, right? In NLP, I told you I'd come back to that neuro linguistic programming. There's something called chunking up. So when we chunk up and look at the bigger picture, who is coming up with this number? What is their lifestyle? What is their experience? So we can't take one person and tell, what do you think I am? And now that's the answer. That's as ridiculous as me saying, okay, my favorite color is blue. But when you tell me you don't like blue, all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, blue must be the worst color. You can't determine that, right? And we've gotten into this same mindedness of the society that, like, if I say you're a 5, you're a 5, who are you? Like, I don't even know what you like, what you're into, how you grew up, how you're framing your model of the world. So your 5 don't mean nothing to me, honey. Like, I'm still a 10. Ah, you know what I mean? Like,
People,
and
yeah,
we
and
have to think that.
you got to be very careful, guys, internalizing that. Shout out to
Yes.
DL. DL,
Yes.
It's been forever, brother. Good to see you. DL, I probably haven't spoken to you since the last show that we did together. It's been a few weeks, but no love lost, brother. Hope all is well. What's good? I know times get really busy and you know, doing your dad thing. So shout out to DL. It's been a minute, bro.
Hey,
But glad
Dia.
you're here. He's also a content creator doing his thing. But you know, even if we don't talk, love, lots of love. And I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for coming through. Damon, how are you? He was with me. Guess what? Oh, cool. Good announcement. Guess what? Tomorrow, I will be the guest overall host of the culture tomorrow on the Roland Martin Network. So I will be on Roland Martin's YouTube channel hosting for my brother in his place for Thursday and Friday. I'm so excited and I'm nervous all at once. So I will be holding it down as the main host just for those 2 days, Thursday and Friday. So y'all come over and support. I will be hosting. I'm so nervous and I'm excited. So just FYI, Damon, I know you're always there watching, but I appreciate you always being here to support. Thank you. Yes, cosplaying is what I call it. It's a terrible, you know, you see people with tan skin and lips that are injectable and all this in the derriere and the this and the thighs and it's not how we see how you looked in your early adulthood. And all of a sudden you're me. Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Hit the
Yeah.
like button. Now let me get on my soapbox. All right. I appreciate you, Damon. Thank you. I appreciate you. So we get back on the subject. Sorry. So we're going to talk about how we can build up our self-esteem. Hit the like button if you're just passing through. Let me know. Y'all support if you can. Again, there are many of us who suffer from low self-esteem, but we just don't tell anybody. And I know, again, some people who are at the top of the food chain, so to speak, look like, you know, living in the right house, live in the right neighborhood, driving the right car, got the right man or family. And I think, you know, certain things that, you know, they go through, you would never know, right? Especially when it comes to their self-esteem. So we're talking to the self-esteem doctor. Dr. Simone is breaking it all the way down, and we're going to get to how we can start to reprogram our minds, right? We have these pressures that she's laid out from society, from our family, from our childhood. And even now in adulthood, we are still getting messages about what number we are on the scale and what we need to lose. And if y'all tell me one more time, like tell me, I don't know what it is with Jamaicans. They feel like they just gonna tell you every time they see it, but y'all get fatty. You look
Oh my
nice.
God. I forgot. I wanted to tell you that my mom didn't do that. I don't know. She skipped a generation or something. I skipped me too because I don't dress with my kids. But my grandmother, I was like, every week I went there, it was something different. So I learned to stop listening to it because I'd go in one pair of jeans and she'd be like, "Oh, your hips roll like your mother," and then I go the next week, "But you look maga." I'm like, "How I'm skinny and fat from week to week. I just like I can't." So I just started to ignore it, and I was like, "This is your thing. This is not a me thing." And I get delete, a
Do
delete.
you
I
know
click
that
on the
I don't
delete.
know why Jamaican family members, especially your mama and your grandma and your auntie them,
Oh,
feel
every
like they
answer.
could just take liberties with you and just say whatever. From I was
Come out
little
with
girl visiting Jamaica, I remember standing in the yard and wanting to cry on the inside from them like slapping me on my butt, slapping me on my thighs and like, "You're nice, I'm fatty." Like I was like, I don't know what to take this as. In America, that's not a compliment.
That's not a thing. Yeah, that's not the thing. That's not
But
the way.
to you, it seems like a term of endearment. But okay, I'm sorry, but childhood trauma coming back. But yes,
Yeah.
we have to be very careful what we're saying to our children, is what I want to say, because
Yep.
this is how we develop those little kind of like voices in our head. Now, is it always like you said, you kind of let things roll off your back and you don't listen to the voices? What do you do to kind of quiet that when it's very loud? Because so for me, there are times where I'd be like, "Dang, you just messed up. You look terrible. You don't." And that's usually when my hair not done or when I feel like, you know, everything is just snowballing out of control, right? And it's like,
Right.
I'm
Right.
terrible. I'm like, nobody will want me. Like, how do you
Gotcha.
quiet the voices, Doc? It can be very loud.
Oh, absolutely. So I think it's more important. Let's shift the perspective on that a little bit. Rather than
Mm,
saying we're gonna quiet the voices of the outside, because that's kind of like happening. We need to actually generate the louder voices from inside. So
mm,
my voice that says, "I got this, I'm amazing, I'm good enough," has to start being louder than those outside voices. And I think even when you were talking earlier, I wanted to throw that in there about our kids. They may be hearing this input and they can't really control the environment that's external, But that internal environment, we have a lot more control than we ever really learn. And so that's where my power and passion comes in, is let's start to learn how to navigate that internal environment, so that when that outside voice comes in and tries to tell us these things, we have a little bit more in place to manage it. And our brain sees really well in pictures and using analogies. So let me give you this picture. Imagine you have a swimming pool, right? So it's a nice, huge swimming pool. And the swimming pool is like the size of the positive stuff I've been putting in my head. I just been putting it in. I got a swimming pool size of like positivity and self-love. Now somebody outside comes and takes like, I don't know, red food coloring and tries squeezes the thing into my pool. It's not going to affect the color of my pool. It's one little thing of food coloring, and I've got an entire pool full of self-love. Now, if my self-love is just a little bottle cap and you drop that red food coloring, that thing's red. Like, you have affected me, you have impacted me. I'm done for the day or the week, right? So the goal really is I need to build myself up, understand how to do that and how important my voice is in training the brain. Because when you say something to me, it's not even your voice. It's what I've done with your voice. It's the way I take your voice and repeat it in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You doing work. Give me a moment. Give me more.
Yeah.
So
I got excited.
Dabble of, good personal development over here. Y'all hit the like button. We're doing work, and we're going to change some people's perspectives of themselves. I love that analogy, where if your pool or, your reservoir of positive affirmation, saying belief about yourself is so deep and so wide, a little drop, there's people like that. I thank you for making that analogy, because I know people like that maybe have, God forgive me, too much confidence with what they got going on. Not for me to judge, because I still admire them. I look at them and I'm like, bruh, sis don't really have, every piece of what should I say, food on the plate, but she confident with what she got though, and she gonna let you know. So I have seen that in real life, and again, I guess there can be extremes, but in moderation, there is a idea that you can build that muscle more in your off times when people are not challenging it, so that when the challenge comes, you looking like, nah, that was a little jealousy. That sis was feeling a little envy when she said that. Sis was trying to keep me down. So I'm gonna forgive sis and show her a little grace and not kind of get into it. But you would know, sis, that's not really who I am. So if you're trying to characterize me these kind of ways, as you say, with what you've been doing to make those voices loud. I love it. Let's see what the chat is saying. Y'all hit the like button. Yes. Rita came to my preach, sis, pass off for play. Let's go. Yes. DL has a question. Thank you, DL. Says, does self-esteem get better? See, we go here. Once you get married, is there a difference between singles and married people? Oh boy. And does it get worse or stay the same? Thank you so much, DL. Good question. What do you say, Dr. Simone?
I wish I had a one-size-fits-all answer for you, DL, but I don't. Every marriage is going to be different. What was your motivation for getting married? What's your relationship in your marriage? Were you a whole person who married a whole person and y'all coming together to support each other? Were you kind of feeling like a half and you were looking for a half and you're trying to complete each other and somebody's slipping and you're not getting completed? There are so many different elements of it. And even in marriage or out of marriage, you still have to nurture self-esteem. It's not other people's esteem. It's not spouse esteem. It's self-esteem. So we still have to have that. And yes, it can get stronger if you're with somebody who's nurturing that and helping you to nurture that. And yes, it can surely get worse if you're with somebody who is stomping on that and not helping or guiding or being supportive of the work you're doing for yourself. So
that's really good. And I will be careful what I share, because people tend to, as an attorney, just tell you stuff, and I'll just use this as not talking about anybody, an abstract example. But there are people in relationships that expect the other person to be the source of their self-esteem. Oh boy. Trouble. And it's not their fault that it's important for a partner to make you feel, in my opinion, now y'all, I know I ain't got no man in it and I'm not married, right? But in theoretically speaking, Doc, you cleared up for me. It's important that you guys create a safe space where both of you feel nurtured, loved, and affirmed. But it's not his job, and technically it's not her job. Now, we're going to boost the man up now. We're going to do that. Right. But you have to be the source of your own, as you said, self-esteem. And I think a lot of people get into relationships seeking that from other people. Can you comment on that, Doc?
Yes, absolutely. I think that when we, again, this brings it back to why am I so passionate? Why did I start this? Why did I see this need? We don't know in many cases how to build our self-esteem. We don't know how to do it. So we really rely on that outside stuff. That's why it weighs so heavily if someone says I'm a 10 or if someone says I'm a 4, because that's where I kind of learned to value myself, is what value you placed on me. If you told me I was smart, if you gave me the A in school, if you told me I'm pretty, like that's how I start to generate the value. So I'm looking for a partner. I need you to have that whole list ready. I need to prop me up all day long. And that's exhausting because people can't even prop themselves up sometimes. How are they going to be the source of your self-esteem? It's just, you need to come with the self-esteem and then I will lift you up. But I cannot make the self-esteem for you. You got to do that part.
Listen,
sure.
Damon says she's spitting facts. I'm 25 years in. Yes. Hey, Kimo. Thanks, David. Hey, Andrew. He says, how do you nurture? A good question. He has a young lady he's raising. With his dad hat on, he asks, how do you nurture a timid young teen? How would you recommend he try to elevate her self-esteem?
Yeah. So sometimes we don't answer the questions that our teens have. Like we try to nurture our way, we try to guide them our way, but we don't actually answer the questions that they actually have. So I do one-on-one coaching with teens. I go to the schools and talk to teens. Feel free to invite me to come out to your schools or your organizations, your jobs. But when I'm talking to a teenager, one of the most important things for me is relate to them, see them where they are first before I tell them, yo, that's not, oh, don't worry about that. Oh, just ignore that. I really try to understand and validate where they are from their space. And then once they feel like, oh, you see me, you get what I'm saying, you understand me, then they start to open up to the advice you may give. Now, as far as somebody who might be more timid, first you start answering the questions about their power, where it comes from, how it comes there, that you prove to them that they have the faculties to do it. And once they're like, oh, so wait, like this is how my brain works, this actually is just how it works. Yeah. Oh, so then I must be able to do it. And then they say that magical question to me. So then how, Dr. Simone? I'm like, bam, that's the question I wanted. So once you start understanding I have the ability to do this, you start getting less scared and nervous about it because you're like, oh, I have this. And then when I say, well, now that I have it, why should I do it? Because it's going to help me. Oh, well, why? Like the why is in place and that is in place. So now how? And when you start answering those questions, you see that timid team just blossom and really change in front of your eyes, which I've seen time and time again with the clients I've been working with, for sure.
I love it. Y'all, she's saying, listen first. Listen first. And see what they want to tell you and what they want addressed. And then as they become more curious, that's a great strategy. You then offer solutions to their curiosity. You draw them in. You don't start by to listen. It doesn't work. I've seen it happen with many friends of mine who are raising teens who are like trying to tell them and make them. I'm like, y'all, this generation especially, bruh, they not on now. They not on the do it like Listen, shout out to them 70s, 80s, and even 90s, even maybe early 2000s babies.
I don't know.
Them, they not having it in the ways of, not disrespect, but it's almost like a Socratic method, like in law school, how they, ask you what you thought about the case, and then you respond, and then it's a dialogue is really what it is.
Yes.
And it's not a teaching at you. Great question, Andrew. Thank you for being here, brother. Thank you, Kimo. I see you. Appreciate everybody in chat. Doug, I see you. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching with the like button. This is what Miss AKA Lady responds. That's why parents should periodically see how their kids see themselves. Very good observation, my love. She's also raising little ones. Check in on their mental. So you can ask them. You're not supposed to be kind of just giving directives, and that can be very difficult, especially when you grow up. Most of us who grew up kind of like classically in terms of a middle class mindset, you think children do what we say. DL agrees with that. Appreciate that. Kimo has a question. Kimo says, what can be done to help women who have too much, lot of mercy, too much self-esteem? Hold on now, Kimo. Let me read it again. What can be done to help? I'm not taking it personal, Kimo. No, just kidding. What can be done to help women who have too much self-esteem and overvalue themselves in the dating market? Now, why you want to be messy? I have a guest here, Kimo. We can't be opening these kind of worms. Truthful question, legit question. What we got, Doc?
Let's do it. All right. So first of all, I want to shout out Doug for posting my channel because I actually did a video about this topic about overconfidence, not in the dating market, but let's put it all together.
Yes.
Come on, let's put it together. So I personally, in my experience, when people have that overconfidence, I really think it's just code for lack of confidence. I think that's most of the time what it is. And here's why I say that. True confidence and true self-esteem means that I'm feeling really good about me and my abilities, and I'm down to share that. I'm down to celebrate yours. I'm not in a competitive space. I just feel good, and I just want to. That's going to just ooze out of me, right? Now, when I start getting into the and well, you don't, no, 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 and I'm usually that can be, and I'm not speaking for everybody. Everybody's different. But most of the time I see it, it's a cover up. It is a whole entire cover up because it's kind of like, man, I don't feel so secure and I don't know how to, but what I'm going to do is, and what you're going to do is, and I'm kind of like trying to prove to you, I have this thing that I really don't have. Yeah. So I'm just going to show out and act up. And so that's what I find. If somebody hurts you or is kind of like it coming on way too strong and putting the guise of confidence or the guise of, well, I just have self-esteem. It's not my fault if you can't, that's not it. I know self-esteem is never mean. Self-esteem is not competitive. Self-esteem, you truly like, I'm chill. I feel good. What value do I have in putting you down or acting like I'm so much better than you and you need to bring this to the table? There's value, and then there's this act of overconfidence. It's a performance, in my opinion, and it's not heartfelt.
That's a real answer. Now, can that apply to the gentleman too? Is that just for the ladies?
Absolutely, gentlemen. Everybody get in line. It's for everybody.
I'm just saying, since they don't want to, they want to act up in front of guests. Let's go. We've had some deep conversations. Some inside jokes are going on here, Doc. So,
I see.
If you want to bring it up, it could cut both ways. Let's just make sure we are clear on that, which is that there are some folks, men and women, who are using that kind of what should I say, confident, hubris, in your face. Even at the conference I went to, I saw that. I was like, sis it's almost like an attention seeking. And several people picked up on it. I wasn't the only person that was like, sis going hard, real hard look at me. And women like me, I chill in the back. I don't have to. If I touch a mic, great. If I don't, I'm good. And y'all still want to talk to me. You know what I'm saying? What do you say? What Chemo saying in the chat? Chemo, what you saying in the chat? Listen, Doug talking about Chemo, you leave them right where they at. You know what, y'all? We have a very distinguished guest in this, and y'all want to come back and give me some back and forth about 2 months.
I love this.
So this week, you know what you make good parents do. You think y'all probably
Oh yeah. And then
daughters, and like my parents were not that parent. And again, some of the work I did over the weekend was just coming with getting closure. Some of the stuff we have to accept, we cannot change. They were doing the best they knew how with how they were raised and their life experience. If they knew better, they would have done better, right? So, but now that we know better though, Andrew, we got to make adjustments. We have to say to ourselves, well, it made me feel this type of way, and even though it kind of is an easy default, we have the tools now that we can try to work through, and alongside professionals like Dr. Simone, so we can get a better result. Chemo, what you over here saying? Somebody said that's not fair. Men don't have this. Listen, it's equal access, equal opportunity tonight. We're talking with Dr. Simone, and she is the founder of a movement and a company called the Self Esteem Doctor. She does specialized work. She speaks at events. You can reach out to her for one-on-one consultation. If you have issues in the family. We're going to talk about your work with children now, because I think just like Andrew brought up, that's a tough job. Parenting, probably the toughest job in the world, especially right now with all the influences that young people have when it comes to social media, when it comes to their friends and the peer pressure and the unrealistic standard. Like before, you could be tall, big, short, a little bit pudgy, a little bit skinny, and pretty much you can still have friends, you can still be somewhat popular and well liked. Now it's like extreme, almost kind of like Hunger Games sometimes in different schools where poor kids can't get home safe without getting picked on, without getting bullied or even beat up. So talk about your work with children. I know we have started that, but what can you do, or what can you see from your practice that parents can do better?
Oh, that's a good question. So we touched on it before, like you said, having those conversations. And one of our guests also said, check in with your kids. I think there's so many small things we can do along the way. If you have younger kids, not always just filling them up with the compliments. Yes, that should be done as well. Empower them and give them that language so they have it and they can know I was told these beautiful things and it becomes part of their inner language. But also give them a chance to develop that self-talk, that inner dialogue and language that says, I can do this. So how do you do that? If a kid shows you a painting or a project or something, and instead of you saying, wow, that's amazing, you can say, what do you think of that? And then let them give you some of that feedback. That starts to kind of get the wheels turning on that self-talk for them. And you can use that and apply that in different areas of their lives. So they create that dialogue. You can talk to your kids at all ages about affirmations, but don't just push it on them. I think the problem is we don't have the answer to why for some of these things. Like, hey, do affirmations. Why, mom? Because it's positive and it make you think positive. Why? How does it help me? I don't know. Just do them. Like get out of my face. Just do the affirmation. And the problem is that these kids, like we said earlier, oh, they're different. They came in different. So back in the day, you said why. Your mother's like, who are you talking to? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I need to ask you why, my bad, right? But now they're like, why? And they want to answer. And if we don't have, they're just not going to do it. So we need to start having some of the whys as adults so that we can pass on to our kids. Do the affirmations. Why? Because it changes the structure of your brain and it makes chemicals.
Uh-oh, you hit mute, you just accidentally hit mute. That's okay, you can unmute, or you put in your headphones, it probably automatically went to mute. Yeah, it was fine, but it just unmute. Just hit your screen. The bottom of your screen shows unmute. That's okay. Just hit unmute. Technical. You see the mute button at the bottom left?
Can you hear me now?
No, I can. No worries.
Okay. Yes. This thing just was like, and I'm powering off. I'm like, but I'm not doing it.
and automatically no problem. Technical happenings
Sorry,
today
guys.
during the hey Black Lexicon, good to see you. Yeah, today during the Roland Martin show, our poor host, his internet just didn't want us to be great, and he's pixelated and he's choppy. He fell, we tried to power through it. We ended up having to do a little best of for the last 45 minutes, but it was just like, you try your best, things happen, and you're totally fine, my darling. I'm appreciative. Y'all hit the like button. Thanks for being here, Black Lexicon. And I see Miss AKA Lady added, true self-value doesn't require you to step on anybody. Grandstanding ain't confidence. Really, it's performance. Well said, sis. 100%. Because you can give your comment here because we talked about that, but this is super, super important. Thank you for making this observation, Miss AKA Lady.
Absolutely. And I love how you said the true self, because there's that spiritual element that I bring into my work. And the true self is just that higher self that is that God inspired breath of life self that's coursing through us. And when we are tapped into that, there's no competition. Like, we're just feeling that divine love in a sense for ourselves. And then we want to spread that to a certain degree with others. And if we don't want to spread it, we certainly don't want to hurt anybody. So that grandstanding it is a performance. And I really think that performance comes from somewhere. I'm not feeling it. And I don't want them to know I'm not feeling it. So let me show like I'm feeling it. And it's a whole mess.
Red flag, y'all. Just be careful when you start seeing it. Confidence is one thing, but that over exaggerating, all eyes on me, performative kind of confidence, run. Like, it's very, very dangerous when people are showing out. Like, I mean, having fun is one thing. And of course, time, place, and context is real. Doc, if you pull out your headphone, can you still hear us through your computer?
No, not right now. You want me to
unplug it? Perfect. I just know I was going to say try it without your headphone. Do you have a speaker?
Oh, let me try. Hold on.
This is me being vain. You look better without the earpiece. I want them to get the full beauty. Hallelujah. We talking about self-esteem. It doesn't matter. If you keep it in, leave it there. It's
Can
fine.
You hear me? I mean, the beauty gonna pop, right, y'all? I can put it right
here. Hey, we gonna leave it right there. You're fine without it. I can hear you. Go ahead. Yeah, I can hear you. Perfect.
Check. You got me? Okay.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to take a few questions. We have about 15 minutes, y'all. So come on through. If you have any ideas, questions, I'm going to ask you now about how we can get into that Neuro Linguistic Programming. Neuro Linguistic Programming to read. Now, okay, this is what I was going to ask you as we go into the solutions. Kimo has another question. Says, does she work with people who have self-esteem issues causing eating disorders, phobias, and or drug or alcohol abuse from self-esteem? Now, are those things related? And if so, do you work with folks who are having these type of issues?
Absolutely, they're related. One thing leads to the other, and they're all kind of interwoven, and things affect people differently. So we try to cope with different things, whether it is that sense of I have control over the food I put in my mouth, and then that leads to using food for control, and then other kind of firing and wiring happens in the brain and leads to an actual disorder. And of course, the same drugs and alcohol and all these different things as well. I actually do work with phobias and minor addictions, things that are usually not necessarily caused by these external narcotics and chemicals. That's a little bit of a different place. So I will work alongside a therapist or psychiatrist or psychologist or an eating disorder specialist, so that I can take care of the self-esteem side, and they can take care of more of that other biochemical influence that the drugs will have in your actual bloodstream and system. So I can take part in that. And small phobias, if you're afraid of heights, if you have small addictions like you can't stop drinking coffee or you're always eating cookies, there are a lot of NLP techniques that handle that thing, like things called mapping across and swish patterns and all these fancy things. They can help with that for sure.
Awesome. So she will tag team when it comes to some of these even deeper issues, because I can imagine some of these do have neurological origins.
Yes.
So you need a practitioner that's dedicated to that area, as well as working on the self-esteem. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Black Lexicon. Say, hey, this is a very thoughtful show. We try to give you some edutainment over here. And while you're listening, guys, Team Replay, hit the like button. We appreciate all of you watching live or Team Replay. Hope you get something out of today's show that will help you. So as we start to talk a little bit about this, Doc, and how to rewire the brain. So I was talking to my cousin earlier today, and I went to a fabulous training over the weekend. It's too long to tell you right now, but she was saying that she has always heard a homeboy that we have mutually in common say that if you start to talk positively and think positively, you will start to rewire your brain to make positive thinking their default. It's default. Yes. Such that when you start to go back to doubting or negative self-talk or any kind of, creating of this lower kind of self in terms of your self-esteem, your brain, if it has already been conditioned to think positively and to expect the greatest, highest outcome of you, your personal capabilities, and really your overall future, you will start to actually change the chemical kind of structure of your brain. Now, we were talking about this earlier, and I wasn't even ready for the show yet. So talk to us about this neuro linguistic, so language, brain.
Yep.
And Doc, what you can do, you can put back in your earpiece just so I don't get a hollow sound. You want to put back in your earpiece? I'm sorry. I'm gonna go up and loud, and y'all hit the like button. We're here with Dr. Simone. She's talking about now how we can reprogram ourselves. Yeah, okay, let's do it. You can do it. Yeah.
No.
And if it goes mute, I want her to get, because I want people to be able to hear it, understand it.
Okay. Yeah, you got me. Is it better?
No, it actually sounds the same, so it's fine. The other one, of course, was electronic, so it was like very clean. But
got it.
Is that one plugged in? That one's plugged in?
This one's plugged in.
It sounds the same, so you don't have to worry about it. The thing is,
you want it out, so you'll do the chorus.
Yes, the visual.
I knew.
No, listen, when I have to cut this, I have to make the little clips. I want to make sure they look clean. So we are here, Dr. Simone here, talking self-esteem, y'all. And I just asked her a question about can we reprogram our brain, right? This is a very cutting edge science. And I know there are people that believe in, and I don't know if he had, read research or thought about it, but a friend of a friend kept mentioning to a family member, and we discussed it, that if you, in fact, think positively, you can rewire your brain for the chemicals that talk to each other to start saying to each other, positive, positive, positive. Wait, there's a negative, kind of like the swimming pool analogy you gave, where you were so full of positive that any type of drop of negative that comes in, your brain wants to literally push it away and try to create the positive thinking, therefore the positive being, therefore the positive outcome. Can you talk a little bit about what's going on in the brain and if that is actually true?
100%. It's definitely true. The concept that our brain can change is called neuroplasticity. And I'm going to give you again like a visual of what's happening. So we've got these synapses in the brain. And when you start having a similar thought over and over and over again, like, I'm amazing, I got this, I'm smart, I'm wealthy, I'm healthy, whatever it is, you have this thought. Now, a couple of things happen. First, your brain says, okay, you're firing and you're firing and you're firing this thought, and your brain starts to make a neurological connection based on that thought, right? And when your brain makes that connection, and you keep on going, that connection gets stronger and stronger. I want you to imagine my hands are about to become a bridge, a really strong bridge, right? So these connections become stronger and closer together. So when I'm thinking like I'm amazing, it's so close. It's a powerful and strong thought. So let's do the opposite for a second. If I'm being negative and I'm so awful, I can't do this, my brain brings those connections closer together until they're really strong and easy to reach, firing and wiring together. So now if I'm in a negative thought, negative space, I think through this space. Hey, Simone, try to get the new job. Oh, I probably can't. Oh, here's somebody, I got a blind date for you. It's not going to work out. I'm thinking through that space because that connection in my brain is so quick. It's automatic. It's like how we speak. We speak English or Spanish or French or Creole or whatever your language is. It's right there on the tip of your tongue, right? Me and Suzette, we slip into the little bit of patois, we slip out. It's just right there. We don't have to think about it. So when we can switch that and get really positive, and then we start thinking through that place, I got this. I'm smart. Like, I'm unstoppable. I got it. And it's like, well, go get that job. Let's go get it because I got it. Let's go on a date. Let's see how it goes because we about to bring our best. But, so it really does a thing to the brain in terms of structurally changing it, bringing those neurons together. And the second thing I just want to say really quick is that the chemicals that flow through our body also match those thoughts. So if you're having very positive thoughts, you're signaling the body to send, they call it a chemical signature. If you're having positive thoughts, you are signaling the brain to send these positive matching chemicals to your body. So here comes like some dopamine and some real happy, joyful chemicals that you're starting to pump, and these happy hormones are pumping because you're maintaining positive thoughts. So that's the affirmations. That's you trying to, big up yourself all the time. And then when you switch over to negative, your brain's like, oh, she wants these very stress-based negative thoughts, and you pump in those through your brain. Your body's like, oh, send some cortisol through. Cortisol is like a stress hormone. You're getting belly fat, you're getting sluggish. So the brain is going to signal the body, the thoughts are going to signal the brain to send a certain type of chemical signature through your body. So it also has a lot of biochemical elements to the way we're thinking. And that's important for us and our kids to know.
Listen, that right there, right there is worth the price of admission tonight. I know y'all came in here free, but if you want to support, make sure you support the thing, because right now, if you think about what she just said, that is an amazing gift. I don't want to kind of belabor the point because you said what you said so eloquently, Doc, but I really want people not to miss this thing, that you think that's how you've always thought, and you think that you can't do anything about it. But stretching that beautiful instrument, that incredible computer that we call our brain, and trying to give it new input, new positivity, new optimism, everything that we want our lives to be like, pushed into it. Not la la land, but more positiveness when we help me, oh God. Yes. When we get into spaces that are challenging. This is what it's about tonight. Surviving a crisis of confidence. If you feel you're in that loop, you can try this. And again, professionals like Dr. Simone are also available if you're not able to do it on your own. But if you want, you can start to try to condition those neurotransmitters, okay? I know it, okay? To talk to each other in a different way and create a different expectation. See, a lot of people think our brains are already kind of like the thoughts that we think. No, we tell it what kind of thoughts we want it to think, and it produces more in kind. If we could kind of step back from the, again, the challenge, the humdrum nature, the constant feeling of pessimism. And I've been there, y'all. And we can say to ourselves, I'm trying, and I'm doing this even now, trying to stay positive. This doesn't really matter in the long scheme of things. I'm not going to be able to control this outcome, but I expect the best. It's hard to do because oftentimes we are conditioned so frequently to go to what's negative, and therefore your brain begets more thoughts of what's negative, and we think that's our real personality. That's, y'all, we could change. We can change. We can open up new dialogues in our brain, so that our brain, now there are people that you meet that are just so optimistic and so positive, and you're like, where'd they get that from? They train themselves to do that. Now there might be some genetic, predisposition, but nonetheless, and I'm not the doctor. I know what I'm talking about. Doc, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, Doc.
Listen, the talk about genetics gets really deep, because then we start talking about epigenetics, and we talk about the fact that everybody has pretty much like the same options, but some of us have turned on those options, and some of us have not turned on those options, and some of us have grown up with parents who turned on those options. So we turn on those options. So it's a little bit more environment, but then we still call it genetics because it's in the genetics more. It's a whole
That's good. That's
thing.
good.
But the point that you're making that I really love and want to emphasize is that it is a training, it is a practice. And that's the thing I think that most people don't realize. It's just kind of like, I'm either positive or I'm not. No, that's incorrect. Well, I can't stop thinking this way. I've been doing it for 20, 30 years. That's also incorrect. Your brain is still changing, but you keep giving your brain the same input every day. It's going to give you the same output every day. If you start your day the same way you have for 30 years, then yeah, you're going to have the same kind of day you've had for 30 years. So it takes the work. And to the degree that you put the work in is to the degree that you get the results. So you can start those healthy habits. You wake up in the morning, and what are you doing when you start your day? What are some of those day starters that would put you on the track to where you want to be? I want to be positive. Well, then there should be steps throughout your day that I see you trying to be positive. And if you're not, then it's not going to magically come from the sky. You need to actually put in the work and move your feet, right? So I think that's a really big, important thing for us to remember is it's never too early. It's never too late. I've worked with kids that are 4 years old. I've worked with people in their 60s and 70s, professionals coming in from other countries to work. So it's not, it's never too late. And we definitely have what it takes to make these changes in our mind for sure.
I'm so excited to hear that. And shout out to everybody watching. If you don't remember nothing else, please and thank you. I was trying to put up this screen. We're talking to the Self Esteem Doctor. Y'all see her there. Y'all see her. Let me let y'all know. Model, teacher, taking her talents now to this area, which is so needed, where we as adults take for granted everybody has the same level of self-esteem. No, people would make better decisions about themselves and others if their self-esteem was properly formed and intact. Oftentimes we work for individuals who we know the leadership is lacking because of the type of issues they have. You ever had a boss or somebody that you report to with low self-esteem? It's the worst. So don't be that person. We're giving you the tool. I'm serious. We're giving you the tools. Don't be that person. This is something that can be addressed. I hope somebody gets it. Your brain is elastic.
Yes.
Elasticity is real. So we can't be tied into this. And I'm working on it too, guys. I'm not trying to say it kind of to put you down. I know it's difficult because if you've been thinking negative and negative and negative, I'm like, no, what is good? What is mine? What I really want? I try to go back to those things. So I really want people to understand that I appreciate y'all. There's so many comments. All right, we're wrapping up, y'all. We're going to get to the comments. Let me start with Black Lexicon says, in support of Dr. Simone and you, Miss Suzette, I realize it is important to put your brain through healthy, great way to put it, healthy exercises, just like you would exercise your body to become toned and stronger. Wonderful analogy, Black Lexicon. Brother done broke it all the way down. So exercise your mind. When we talk about prayer, when we talk about meditation, quiet thinking, walks on the, well, I do my walks on the beach. Everybody don't got a beach, but just wherever you are. End up Miami, let's go. But trying to focus and refocus your thoughts. I call it arrest the thought. As soon as you hear that negative thought come in your head, counteract it with a positive. No, that's not true. Of course I can do that. And it's so, like I said, it can become so customary. To listen to and create negative thinking that you don't think it's possible because you think that's really you. No, that's what you've trained your mind
to do. Absolutely.
So we gotta listen, Doc. We don't have to have you back because this we getting deep. Yes, Black Lexicon, the brain affects my heart just as much as my body does. Really, really good. DL says I dig it. Okay, we have a question. Miss AKA Lady says, do you believe you can program your brain to react positively to, here we go, smells and aromatherapy, or do you consider that another form of addiction? Lady, Miss AK, lady, you telling on yourself? No, just kidding. Are you telling on yourself? No, I'm actually half kidding. So let me just make sure I'm not putting my girl out there. Do you believe that you can program your brain? Okay, this is what my cousin told me today when we were talking about this gentleman that we went to school with. She said she took a class that taught her how to correlate moving into a positive direction with something negative. So of course we're gonna have breakdowns, right? Immediately you try to do something positive and then somebody come act up, your kid's acting crazy, you have an argument with your spouse, your parent, whoever it is, right? So we have to put this to the test. So she said it was taught to her that if you were wanting to quickly try to shift your brain again, create a positive stimulus, tap your shoulder, rub your finger, tap, I don't know about the tapping, but you know what I'm saying? Like move your hand and just know that this signal is your bat signal to yourself. I got to go positive. I'm going to go positive. And then it will lead you, once you start doing this, even if you're in the deep, dark pit, you can refocus. Now, I'm going to let you answer Miss AKA Lady as well as mine. But do you think that works?
Yes. So in NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming, there is a technique called anchoring. And if you think of it, again, I love my examples and my visuals. That's how you really help things to stick. So if you think of it, there are things in our lives that bring us right back to a certain state. So a state is like where your brain is, how you're feeling in the moment. So let's say I were to smell popcorn, my brain immediately goes to movies, right? If I were to smell cookies, or something that grandma would bake, or again, sawfish on a Sunday morning, or whatever it is, right? You have a smell that sometimes is associated with something else, or a movement that's associated with something else, or even it can be negative. You hear an ambulance and your brain goes somewhere. I had a friend who, when he heard an ambulance, his brain went to healing and health, because every time he had gotten an ambulance for his allergies, he went to the hospital and felt better. So his anchor to ambulance was healing and health. My anchor to ambulance was, oh gosh, I hope everybody survives. Like that, I was just afraid when I heard it. So we are able to create quick anchors or what we call a resource anchor, to help us feel a certain state pretty immediately. So we have to create the anchor by doing a certain couple of steps. And then when I need it, if I'm plummeting, getting really sad, I can activate that anchor, snap my finger, pull my ear, wherever I place the anchor. And it's just same exact concept of suddenly smelling popcorn and getting into the state of, the movie theater, or getting a hug from a parent. That's probably one of the most obvious ones. Is your kid falls down, there's blood, or they hurt themselves, and they look at you to see if they should cry. They're like, and then when you come in with the hug, they're like, oh, okay, I'm okay. But if you're like, are you okay? Then they're like, like they look at you for the anchor of how should I react? And that hug means I'm safe, so they don't cry. And that face means you're in trouble, so they cry. So we're able to create those anchors by touching. And when it comes to aromatherapy, I think that's a little different. It could be an anchor situation, but since you're not formally anchoring anything, I think that one could be a little bit more of the soothing effect that senses have on the body naturally, in terms of like your olfactory, which is your smell, and how your brain sees the world. If you are sensitive to smells, then aromatherapy can be really effective for you. And again, what they tell you it's going to do, as Jamaica said, belief kill and belief cure. So, so if you believe and you're open to being receptive to what this aromatherapy product can do for you, it's it's a program. Like when I smell eucalyptus, I'm going to stop coughing. It's a program, and it's so simple, and we just haven't taught it enough for us to realize it's happening every day, all day in our lives.
That's pretty cool. So I don't think, and to the addiction point, Doc, because I think sometimes when we think we're doing things every day, that we're addicted to it. But some people have, and I guess I would call it, but I'm not the professional, routine. So that when you spray and I have it's like a piney smell spray. It just, or I'll spray it on my shower curtain to kind of like indicate to me, this is the end of a day. This is the end of that stress. This is the end of this, like close it down, turn it off. And then I have a show, right? But for the most part, it like helps me shift from one way of thinking to another, so that I can close that chapter, release that tension and that stress, and kind of shift over. I don't know, Miss AKA Lady, if that's kind of what you were reacting positively to smells, what you were referring to. I think I am agreeing with you, Dr. Simone, that it can be, you called it, I don't know what anchor means except for what you've explained. Right. I call it a stimulus that kind of pops you into a different frame of mind.
Yes.
Nostalgic, like you say, memory, a sense of safety. We're saying the same thing. So I don't think it can be necessarily addictive. If you can't live without it, or if you're doing like those people on TV eating it, then I think no shade, sis. I don't mean nothing towards you. I just mean it in terms of what came to mind when I read the question. I was like, if you know what I'm saying, people do that. If that's that type of coping mechanism where it's kind of unhealthy, then I think we're in, maybe we need to seek some help. Much respect to you, love. And I don't mean to make light of it, but I thought it was a cute question. Miss Globegirl says it ties in with your last live. Hello, the spiritual attorney. We did a great show. Go back and watch. We're doing work over here. You're welcome. Changed lives. All right. Not to, false confidence, but I mean it. Y'all not watching the shows as much. Go ahead. I should have thousands of views on these shows because they are fascinating and life-changing, really and truly. So we're doing work because we love to work. Praise God. Right. But yes, the spiritual attorney, Do I have her? I think I might have her thumbnail. Did the universal laws, and it was an amazing show. We did a great one on what else do we do? Here we go. This one. Thank you, Miss Globe Girl, for reminding the folks to get over there and watch some of these team replay and understand what it is that we're doing over here. We're trying to build up, right? Healing the trauma is half the battle for our community, Doc, is what I realize.
Yeah.
We can't have healthy relationships if we're not healthy ourselves.
Yeah.
So for those of us who struggle in different areas, this is much respect for to you for trying something different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Food for thought, so that you know that you could be, a better person. Shout out to Wonderful 34. I see you. Lexicon as having a great therapist for the mind is equal to having a good personal trainer. Let's go. Okay, y'all.
Yeah, and remember that takes a little time sometimes too, because you guys do positive thinking for like 5 minutes and then be like, "What happened?" Like give it a little time. It can be fast. Sometimes it can be way faster than you realize, but also give yourself some grace.
So you don't have to do it all the time throughout the day. You can just say positive. You guys, she has a channel too. Make sure y'all go subscribe. Make sure you follow her. She has a personal page as well as her. Okay, let's talk about the Academy as we end, guys. Thank you, Sir Hell. Good to see you, sir. In the building. I appreciate. Look at the support. Look at me. Look at the support. Always. Sis, I'm grateful. She say this is good content. I know they want me to gossip and get deep into the issues of relationships, right? And I may actually still talk about Sierra and her dress, but nonetheless, we have to mix it up. But this is what we're trying to bring. And anytime you try to elevate, the conversation, it's not going to be the most popular thing up front. But I promise you, people want good food for their soul.
Yeah.
They want truth. They want authenticity, and they want good food, right? Yeah. So I appreciate you, my sister, for honoring me, investing in me. Member of my Patreon. Remember, Patreon community. We're going to be live next Thursday with Faraji Muhammad. We haven't picked up. I think it'll be 7 p.m. Eastern, but stay tuned. I'll post it on Patreon. We just said the date. But for supporters that hold me up, like Miss AKA Lady, I thank you. Thank you, sis. Always here. Supporting and showing love for good, hopefully quality in your opinion, guys. I won't say it. I'll let you tell me quality content as she has so generously through this super chat. But thank you. You already know. I really appreciate you as always. So let's end on your as we got to wrap, y'all, the Academy. So you have this whole Academy. Yes, and so tell us about it.
For sure. So you guys, first of all, thank you, all the support, all the questions. I love you guys just really getting out here and getting this information. So I appreciate you. And what I've done is over the years, all of the content that I've taught, all of the coaching sessions that I've had, hundreds and hundreds of success stories. And what I've done is taken all of those successful tools that have worked to shift mindset, to boost empowerment, to help you to improve your self-talk, to understand the power of gratitude, to understand how to keep going when it's hard, and how to build meditation in with self-esteem and not compare with others. All of this stuff I have formulated into this infrastructure that I put online now in my academy. So when you go to my academy, which is the Self Esteem Doctor Academy.com, you're going to find all the resources you need. I once had a lady who was seeing me, and in the middle of the night, she was having a panic attack, just like not believing in herself. Like, I can't do this. Like, I'm going to fail. Woke up about 2 a.m., jumped on my academy, went to a tool called tapping. Funny, Suzette mentioned it earlier, and started doing the tapping. And that was in my free library. That wasn't even something she had to invest in. There's some stuff I just give you because we should all know it. So I put it out there. She used it. She's like, I went right to sleep. She goes, that's never happened to me. I go full panic attack when I go. And she goes, and I scaled back. And I'm like, that's the power of your mind. That's the power of knowing the tools to use when you need them. That is the power of using the body to entrain the mind. That is the power of all that we have going on with the way that our brain is connected and the thoughts and the feelings are affecting our lives. So that academy, y'all, is there for you. There is no excuse to not join the academy. You can start off just in the library. It's free. And then when you want something more intense and deeper, you can check out some of the other courses that we have. Everything's at your own pace. Everything is whenever you want to log in. And I have advisors that will help guide you what you should be taking, what you should be watching, what you should be doing based on what's going on with you. Because we're here to make a difference. Me and Suzette, we are out here making a difference. And so I want y'all to join that academy. I'm sure she's going to link it down here. I want to see everybody. I want to see Miss AKA Lady. I want to see Jamal.
Everybody.
I want to see DL. I want to see Black Lexicon. I want to see everybody joining my academy.
Listen, this is not easy, y'all. We do it for the love.
Yes.
And for you to offer that type of content for free, y'all, go sign up for her academy. Go subscribe to her YouTube channel. DL, you got Joe talking about, I just subscribed. She got 212. We're going to get it to 1,000. We're going to get it to 1,000. Like I said, the people who are getting the most attention sometimes, no disrespect, because people work hard, and I respect the hard work and the hustle. But we also want to give people an opportunity, just like Dr. Simone, who have resources that are relevant to everyday life, surviving crises of confidence, putting confidence in the ones you love, putting confidence in your children. She has a free academy, y'all. You see it on your screen, right? It's called the Self Esteem Doctor. You can find her on Instagram. You can find her on our website. And that brand, that movement is going to be incredible, or is already incredible, sis. But I just want more people to be able to access and know about it. And so once they know about it, they will access it.
Sure,
So we're grateful for the work you're doing, sis. Thanks for making time to come by tonight. That's our show, y'all. Big up Dr. Simone Alicia. She is, again, a woman who is having a tremendous impact. And for her to come through tonight on the Suzette Speak Show, tell us a little bit about what we can be doing to strengthen our self-esteem is gravy, is amazing. So please go support her. I shout out to everybody in the chat. Sir Hale, again, thank you. Black Lexicon, thank you again. Miss AKA Lady, our sponsor for the night. And again, y'all know, they talking about he's 213. Let's go. Up we go. Positive thoughts. Growing. It's growing. Like, let's go. Keep on the super. Okay, wait. Now I got 214. Let's go. Can I get 250? Now you got
250. Can I get 216? Can I get
25? Give it 25. Listen. Chemo, thank you. He enjoyed. Again, shout out to, listen, my Patreon is the best. Those who have been with me, rocking with me for a long time. Again, the gratitude I have for each and every one of you in this up and down, beautiful journey. Let's make it positive. Beautiful journey called YouTube. I am so grateful. And thank you so much, brother, for your generosity. Always holding me up and being in my corner. Chemo C says, great guest with wonderful information. I want to learn more. Okay, smiley face. Okay.
I got an entire smiley face.
Smiles. Dr. Simone has a very beautiful skin. Wait, hold on now. Dr. Simone, are you single? Because these people out here, we focusing on the wrong thing, Chemo. Or maybe it's the right thing, Chemo.
It's all relevant to that. Let the people speak.
Not stopping no flow now. I'm not that hateration confident.
I'm married.
But married. Praise God. Okay, so married woman, that's why the skin glowing, sis.
Hey,
well taken care of. Yes, let's go. Love can do that to you. Proper balance in your life with a good man can do that to you. Hallelujah. One day, God. One day, Father, positive. One day, oh God. Hallelujah. And so seeing you, and he say, and that smile. Let's go.
Thank y'all.
We appreciate that. I know she appreciates that. Chemo keeps it 100, okay? He speaks his mind, right? And I love having you and all the rest of my wonderful, subscribers, as well as, of course, my Patreon members, those who contribute to me monthly and help me to continue to do this work for the love, right? For the love. So y'all check her out. Any final words before I let you go? And y'all remember, okay, let me let her say goodbye, and then we'll preview tomorrow's show. Go ahead. Thank you, Chemo.
Guys, I just want to say thank you for the energy. Thank you for the love. Thank you for really being tuned in and asking really relevant questions. It's because of you that we're able to carry the conversation further and deeper and make it really, really count for all of us on the call. So on the show. So I'm very excited about this. And whenever you do feel like you're having a crisis in confidence, just stop for a second and check in. Are you just pushing through with the physical body, or are you actually utilizing some of the power we have in the mind, the power we have to make these better connections and to flow these positive chemicals through our body and to help ourselves on a deeper biochemical, mental, emotional way. And when things get tough, don't give up. Run some of those positive things and try to start positive. Don't always use it as medicine. Use it as a vitamin and start with the positivity. And join the academy. You will get more tools. I guarantee you. we can start seeing some changes in your life in as little as a week or less. If you're really serious about it, I'm here to help. And those resources are there 24/7 for you. So thank you guys.
There it is. Thank you. That's our time with Dr. Simone Alicia. Y'all go subscribe to her channel first and foremost. Look at my people.
Taking care.
You got at least 10 new subscribers.
Look at that. I appreciate it.
Doug talking about chemo, talking about 260.
Yeah.
Doug talking about chemo asking on the right thing. He focused on the right thing. Listen, we you so funny. Y'all so funny. Talking about 2 carat on the ring. Y'all should have been.
Huh? What you said?
Listen, that's why we gotta be on point. They so observant, right? They so
blind them my thank you, Miss AKA lady.
We love Suzette Damon. Thank you so much, y'all. Again, supporter. Yes, yesterday. This was our show yesterday. Talking about he was going to try to bribe me with the green card. Where is this at? This is what we did yesterday. Oh, no. Living the American Dream. If you are interested, thank you. Great Pill also sub to your channel. Thank y'all. Thank you guys. Show love. Thank you so much. My folks are the best. They call us seekers.
We are the best.
They know how to come through. We did a fabulous show. Speaking of, thank you for reminding me, Doug. We did a Living the American Dream, a wonderful update when it comes to what's happening on the border, what's happening with the current immigration system, how long it's taking. Thank you, Tremaine Hemmons, an attorney here, also Miami girl who was, in fact, here with a mom whose paperwork ran out and was here undocumented, and she is, proven the American dream still lives, and went on to law school and now is helping others who are. Go back and watch that if you are interested in immigration in any way. Again, we don't play games. Yeah. Right? We don't play games over here. We're putting in work, man. We're giving people information, good info. Make sure y'all stay tuned real quick tomorrow. Oh, no, sorry, wrong way. This way. Sorry. Tomorrow I have Marley Walters. She is a realtor. She'll be talking about, what's really going on with interest rates. We just had a couple, maybe 3 bank collapses in the last week. And some people are still, have never purchased a home. So she's going to talk about there are new home buyer programs that are new home buyer programs and whatnot. We're going to save that for tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, y'all. Make sure the stream is already up. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you're here with us live. If you have questions, she's a professional here in South Florida, graduated from the U, and doing fabulous work when it comes to real property. But thank you. Gotta go, y'all. I know I'll be here forever saying goodbye. But Dr. Simone, thank you for being here, sis. So much, pleasure. Hopefully we can have you back. If you need anything from me, you know where to find me. I appreciate you doing this here.
Of course. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. Thanks for the opportunity, Suzette.
Of course. My pleasure. My Jamaican sister also. Thank you. Big up yourself. Yes. Thanks for coming through, y'all. We got to go. Appreciate you. So many more subs. Thank you. Go over to her channel. All her information is in the description. If you want to check her out, the Self Esteem Academy, as she said, is free. A lot of free tools you can just listen to. I'm going to go over there, check it out. She has coaches. She does one-on-one coaching if you need it, if your child needs it. She does get people right, okay, when it comes to the self-esteem. So hopefully tonight's show helped you in some way, shape, or form. I'm seeing it in the chat. Y'all going, okay, David, thank you. Good show. Okay. Here, a sub. Thank you. Dangerously Active. Thank you. Amazing show. Thank you. Great show. Okay. Well, at least we know we're doing work. We didn't say it ourselves, Dr. Simone. They saying it about us. So we'll take that. Thank you again, y'all, for watching. Appreciate everybody being here. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.